Hey everybody, I'm Cireon from Clan Quest, and I have noticed that a lot of people have troubles with Dungeoneering, and since Liz said I helped her so much with just walking through a single dungeon with her, I figured I made a few simple video guides to like teach you the basics of Dungeoneering. So, um, yeah, I'm not a dungeoneering expert or anything, but I really enjoy doing dungeoneering ever since some other clanmates taught me the basics, took me on a few group dungeons, and showed me the ropes. So I hope that by doing this video, we can get a few more people interested in dungeoneering, or at least make them not hate it as much. So, yeah. Um, There's probably too much to cover in a single video, so I'm planning on doing a couple. This is the first one where we will just talk about the very basics, and hopefully we can go in a few um, more advanced subjects in the later videos. So as you can see, I'm in a dungeon right now, in the spawn room, and the first thing we'll talk about is what you will be wearing throughout the dungeon. So there's a lot to say just about the binds themselves. So if you right click the smuggler, you can go to the bind setup and see all the items you have bound to you. So what I like to do is to have like setups for each of the styles. Ranged is probably the best one to use, but I don't think it really matters what combat style you pick as long as you feel comfortable with it. I think melee is definitely the least, the worst of all combat styles because it involves a bit more running around. But if you really are inclined to use melee, then just do so. So yeah, try to gather the best gear you can because that will really save in the amount of time you spend in dungeons and killing monsters. I can go in another video about the binds in more detail, but for now, just focus on getting the best gear you can wear. Take a bow or take a wand with an orb or a two-handed sword, and you're probably set. So that's the binds. Then there's your inventory. If you complete the dungeoneering tasks, you get the option to toggle between starting with a bit of money and starting with an inventory with some predefined items. I definitely recommend going for the items because they're basically all you need. If you have the money, then I suggest using that money to trade with the smuggler right in the starting room. Get a couple of feathers. 50 is probably too much, but get like 10 or maybe 20 because there are some puzzles that require you to use some fishing, so that's what the feathers are for. But you can also fish some of the other food and some of the other fish and turn it into food if you really need. Getting an anti-poison can be nice to save some damage. It's not really required. But the most important part is spending the rest of your money on runes and making some cosmic and law runes because gate stones require those runes and they will definitely help you getting through dungeons quicker. So if you start in a solo dungeon, you start with a group gate stone. You start with your bound items. So in this case, that's my wand and my orb. That's my switch. So I use ranged as main style, but I also have a wand and orb equipped so that I can switch to magic in case I come across very strong melee enemies. And there are also some bosses that don't work well with ranged. And then there is a potion bind you can use. I have an artisan potion here. I should probably update this to a strong artisan potion. It helps you getting through skill drawers you don't have the level of. And then there's of course the items you just bought. Alright, so that's a quick run over of your starting inventory. Basically, once you get used to getting your inventory set up, you can do it within the first minute of your dungeon. And if you unlock the dungeoneering tasks, you can basically just start your dungeon straight away because the items you have are sufficient to get to the entire dungeon. In group dungeons, you should probably turn the remaining rune essences in law runes as well, because you might run out of law runes otherwise if it's a large dungeon. So, alright. Oh yeah, just a quick note. There are some items and some food here. If you feel comfortable bringing some food, you can pick some up here. The coins are not really necessary, and nor are the equipment that spawns here, because it's not as good as your binds probably. So I usually ignore this part because you get quite frequent food drops throughout the dungeon, and dying is usually not an issue for me. But if you really want to get some food, then quickly pick some up here to get you going. Alright. So, a good thing to know about dungeons is that if you click a door the first time, it will unlock the room behind, as you can see, but it won't let you enter right away, which means you can already take a look into the room and check what kind of doors it has. So I can see a gold diamond door there, which is a key door. So we need to find a gold diamond key to enter the door. And there we have a skill door. So there are no monsters in here, so this is actually quite an easy room. I just go in here, and this is a skill door, so I can just open it without problem. And then we apply the same trick. We open the door and we look into it. So here we see a loot key, which is a key. And I think that it's the best to focus on getting the keys first, even in guardian rooms. Because as you can see, once you have seen the room for a while, the loot beam will disappear. If you enter the room again, every time the loot beam will appear again. But if you're busy killing monsters, the loot beam might disappear, and you might forget it's there and skip the key, and that can cost you some time. So pick up the key first, then focus on killing the enemies. So there's a dead end here. So let's go back all the way to the spawn room and see if I can find a better example for a room, because so far they haven't been very interesting. Alright, so this is a bit more interesting because right here we can see a guardian door, and you recognize this by hovering over it to see the name, but also the little eye above tells you it's a guardian door. So what this means is a guardian door can only be entered once all the monsters in the room have been killed. So if you see that room, that door, you know that you can go in the room and just kill all the enemies there. I usually clear out the guardian rooms right away. Another option would be to leave them until last and see if you can find the exit without doing too many guardian doors. It's probably a personal choice. So yeah, we can enter the room, and this is a guardian room because we have a guardian door, but there are no enemies anyway, so we can already pass. And this is actually a skill room. So in this room, yeah, we have to do a little puzzle. In this case, we have to mine away these rocks and build these struts to make sure that the rocks don't fall on top of you, like that. If you stand below that, you lose a bit of health. Alright, so this is another skill door which you can go to, hopefully. Alright, so I failed, which means you lose quite a chunk of health. Don't worry too much about it. Like, this happens sometimes, and yeah. So here we see, alright, That's a bad example. So when I unlocked this door, I could see into this room. I saw the key, of course, so that's my first priority. But I also noticed that this is not a guardian door, but a skill door. In this case, it's construction. So I can go on and kill these enemies, but it's not required to pass through this door. Only Guardian's door require you to kill the enemies in there. So I can save myself quite a bunch of time by not killing the enemies in these kind of rooms. So in this case, I would pick up the key and repair this door. Now, when I open this door and enter the next room, of course I don't have as much time to look into that room and see if there are any Guardian keys there. Guardian doors there. So if you have a room where the monsters are not killed in, then you need to be a bit more quick about deciding whether you have to kill all the enemies in the next room or not. So yeah, this is a special Guardian room where the spirit you see flying around switches between the ghosts, and only the ghost that currently holds that spirit can be harmed. And the nice thing is that these ghosts are not aggressive, so you can save yourself quite a bit of damage by choosing the right one to attack. So let's check this next room. So this is a dead end. There's no key in here. You can look into it on this screen. You can also look at on the map for a red dot. And if this is an empty room, it literally adds nothing to go in this room. The uncovering of this room already gives you the bonus room experience. So if you see a dead end, ignore it and go to the next door. Alright, so this is a bigger room, but once again, we don't see any guardian doors, so we don't have to kill any enemies in this room. If you see an enemy like this, this is some sort of armadillo thing. You don't have to kill these for guardian doors. They're not aggressive, they don't count as guardians. They are actually hunter creatures, so if you build the right tier trap for this creature, you can trap it and get 4 hides for your ranged gear. So we can take our time in this room and just go to the skill doors. So this is another room with a little puzzle. So that's a fairly easy one. It probably says some. Yeah. So I need a construction level 105 to actually fix this. So I can use the artisan potion here to boost my construction and actually finish this room, hopefully. But rooms where you have to boost for, like these, never count towards your critical path. So every room behind this room is not required for the completion of this dungeon. That means that if you want to go for the best experience per hour, you should just ignore these rooms, because to get the best experience rates, you just have to complete floors as quickly as possible. So I could go into these rooms and find a few more keys or maybe other rooms, but they're not required for the completion of this dungeon. So I'm gonna go out, ignore this door, and go for this door instead. There are some other cues you can use to figure out if a room is required for completion of the dungeon, but we'll go into those maybe in a later video. So there we have a guardian door. So I'm pretty sure I have to kill this one to get to the dungeon. That was pretty easy. And now, yeah, that's not really a good food drop, so I'll just ignore it. I could use some food. I'm at half health. Alright, so this is another puzzle room with a key in the end. And there's also a door there. I think I'm doing this wrong, yeah. Let me turn off my clan chat. There you go. This is a bit of an annoying room to do on your own, I think. With 2 people, this is already a lot easier because... Oh, and the pathfinding is always a bit off. You can stand on either side of the barrel and push in the right direction. But now you have to be a bit more smart about it. So the goal is to fill this barrel entirely and then push it on top of the button. And the barrel can be filled by pushing it or pulling. Oh, you can actually pull. Never knew. By pushing and pulling it in front of one of the in front of the currently active mouth. But if it's not in front of the right mouth, it actually slowly empties again. So you have to be a bit quick about it. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. It's a bit like Tears of Godric. Sometimes they stay really long and sometimes they don't. So. Alright, so it's full now, so now I can safely just drag it on the button and it will not empty again. So this is not a guardian room, but no guardians. That saves us quite a bit of time. And then there is a key. So there are surprisingly few monsters in this dungeon. Usually it's a bit more. But it really just depends on the random dungeon generator. So there's a guardian door over there. So I'm just gonna kill this skeleton. And of course pick up this key. There's some nice salvials here. Those are pretty good food, so I'm gonna take those. That's a key door we have. So in this room, there's no need in killing this pickaxe because it's not gonna unlock any other doors and it's only gonna cost us time. We have that key. And you will take some damage when going through these rooms, but the amount of time you save is a lot more worth it. I'm gonna quickly run back to a safe room again. So here we have a key door and we don't have that key yet. And it might be possible that the boss is just behind this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a personal gatestone. So you start with only this one. If you have I think the hard ones or the elite dungeoneering tasks completed, you'll get a second gatestone. So I'm going to create those. That costs me a couple of cosmic runes. And I'm going to drop it, and I can now teleport back to this at any time. So if I ever found the blue triangle key, I can just go back to there. And we'll go into gate tactics a bit in the next video. This is a dead end. It's the wrong direction. So I could optimize this dungeon a lot by using more gates. Or gate stones. Gates is just a bit of a shorter name for it. But for now I really want to focus on how to tackle different rooms you can come across. That can already save you quite a bit of time. Alright, so here we have a key. So as you can see, sometimes I only look at the doors once I'm already in the room. That's either just bad habits, but it's also, yeah, I'm trying to do things as quickly as possible. So This is a room where you just have to do a few tasks. You have to smith the battle axes, you have to cook the fish, and there's bows you have to fletch, I think, yeah, over here. And then he'll let you too. So once again, if there was any of the tasks here I couldn't do because of my skill being too low, it would be the best to just ignore this room and go in another direction, because the boss will not be behind here. There we have a guardian door, so I have to kill this. And especially for the max combat creatures, you want to take a good look at their style. If the creature is maxed and it's also weak against your style, you're usually better off switching to your secondary style, even though it's probably not as upgraded to your ring of kinship. It can still save you quite a bit of time, because you lose a lot of accuracy. This is another dead end. So let's walk all the way back. There were a few key doors here we couldn't open before, so we probably should now. And we could have sped up this dungeon by placing like another gate here or at the other door. It's usually not a good idea to place 2 gates in 2 adjacent rooms, but because you only have a couple of gate stones to use, but sometimes it can be helpful. That's the blue triangle key that we put a gate stone in front of before. So I'm gonna do this door first because it's closer. But if not, I'm gonna use the gate stone teleport to the other door. So this is a dead end. So now I can use the gate stone teleport spell to instantly teleport to this door. That's a guardian door. So that means we have a few more spiders to kill. Alright, so this is another dead end. There's one more room I missed there. So, because this is the room that was too high of a level. So this is probably the boss room. And you can always teleport back to the spawn room by pressing the home teleport button. The only disadvantage is that this teleport can be interrupted by combat. It's just like a home teleport. So be careful with that. It doesn't work with your fast load stones either. So yeah. So let's see, what's this room I missed? Alright, it's alright, yeah. That's a mistake. That's definitely a mistake. Alright, so this is the boss room. Let's see what we have. Alright, this is a pushover. Let's just enable soul split for the sake of it. There we go, and that's the end of the dungeon. So once you're done, you can, in this case I have almost the entire dungeon explored, but maybe you found the boss quickly and have a lot of door rooms unopened. It really depends on personal preference if you want to open them or not. I would recommend not to, because I think higher experience per hour comes from just completing more floors. But if you, for example, are using things like Dungeoneering wild cards or maybe just a Goreo card, then it might be worth going for them because you get more XP for this particular dungeon. But in general, just as soon as you find the boss, kill it, end the dungeon, move on to the next floor. So that's what I'm gonna do. And the next floor is gonna be a new video where we're gonna talk a bit more about dungeon-wide strategy instead of just room-based strategy. So see you there.